Welcome back, ADHD parents. Today's episode is a game changer. Today, you're going to meet Sandrine Olmi, French-born nutritional therapist, certified mind-body eating coach, and mama to a neurodivergent little one. She's powered by real science, fueled by lived experience, and on a mission to make food and nutrition less chaotic for families like ours. Why she matters for parents like us? Sandrine is a registered nutritional therapist and certified with the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. That's brain-body credibility you can trust. She cuts through fad diets and shame culture with a joyful, intuitive eating approach and a focus on food freedom and not guilt. She speaks fluent neurodivergent parenting energy. She's a sin mom herself and deeply understands how high stress, picky eating, food sensitivities, sensory chaos, and executive dysfunction intersect at our dinner table. In this conversation, she'll break down why nutrient gaps matter for kids with ADHD, sensory issues, or executive dysfunction, how to undo shame around picky eating without turning meals into a battlefield. Phew. Girl. And practical, realistic tips for boosting gut-brain health, even when you're burnt out and your calendar is on fire. If you're exhausted from Googling fragmented wellness tricks or wondering if just another family meal would feel less like herding cats, then baby, you need to stick around. This is evidence-backed, compassion-driven support from someone who's lived it. So grab your coffee or wine, baby, I get it. Hit play and let's figure out how to nourish our neurodivergent kids without the overwhelm. Welcome to the conversation with Sandrine Olmi, intelligent, empathetic, and exactly the expert we needed. Sandrine, welcome to Chaos and Caffeine.
Thank you so much.
So I first want you to self-introduce yourself about anything you want us to know, and then we will get into the meat of the interview.
Okay, so thank you for inviting me. So I'm Sandrine and I'm a registered nutritional therapist. But first of all, I'm a mum. I'm a mum of a little girl who's 8, and we adopted her when she was a baby. And she was 4 months old when she came to us. And we knew she had a difficult background, difficult history. So we didn't know what was coming our way, really. And it's only been just a year and a half ago that she was diagnosed with ADHD and autism and PDA. Well, not officially diagnosed with PDA, but we strongly suspect she's PDA because the day I started reading about PDA, I thought, right, I think I know what's going on here. So I'm a mom, and I've been in a nutrition world for about 10 years, and I came into nutrition because I had digestive issues and I wanted to heal myself. My 30s were just miserable. So that's why I studied nutrition. And then when my daughter came along, I started researching how to support her because she was having all sorts of issues, meltdown, poor sleep, etc. So then dived into that side of things, more around brain health. To support her. And that's why I'm here today to talk about that.
Very nice. Kudos to you guys for adopting. I think that is so needed in the world right now.
Thank you. It's not an easy process. We nearly gave up, actually. And then there's a scheme in the UK where you can foster to adopt. So we kind of tried that route, and it meant that we were looking after a child while the court proceedings were taking place. And luckily, they'd said to us, the chances are very high for you to be able to adopt this little girl. So we thought, okay, we'll give it a go. And it worked out. So yeah, really, really pleased.
Wonderful. So I am wondering, you have other children, neurotypical, and then you are thrust into the neurodivergent world. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a big learning curve. And in fact, I was listening to your episode where you explained how you had to change your parenting style. And you had to kind of relearn everything. It was the same for me. And
Yeah.
oh gosh, that was hard.
Yeah. Agreed.
Extremely hard because I had a very strict mother
Mm.
and not a very good relationship with my mother, unfortunately. So I had to put a lot of things to bed
Yeah.
in order to be able to help my child. And that was hard. Yeah, that was really hard. When I think back of how burnt out I was, and how desperate I was to find ways to get out of this situation. Yeah. So, and then, you learn, you read, you consume,
Yeah.
all that's out there, don't you?
Yeah.
Um, and then you find things and you think, oh, let's try this. And I kept showing my husband information about PDA and he kept denying it. Oh, she's fine. I said, no, no, there is something there. We need to help her more. I think we're missing something. I don't know what it is. And because we followed the adoption route, we didn't have the traditional medical support that you'd have when you have a baby, right? When your baby is followed through
Yeah.
with health visitors, and that's what happens here in the UK. We have felt quite alone. We just didn't know where to turn. And as a parent, you think you're failing because you're like, why is my child behaving like this? This is not normal. And the school, the nursery was not helping either. They just kept
Mm.
saying, oh, your child, that's who she is. And I'm like, yeah, what do you mean by that? When actually she was playing with the taps in the bathroom most of the day when she was at nursery, not
Mm.
taking part in
Yeah.
anything. Okay. And it's only when she came to primary school that the teacher went, who is this?
Yeah.
Who is this little girl? Well, you will soon find out.
Yeah.
Um, by that time, so when she turned 5, I was at the end of my road in a way. I was absolutely exhausted. Her sleep was terrible. And I I phoned the GP and I said, please help. What can we do? And when I mentioned the fact that she was an adopted little girl, he said, you need to you need to go down the route of, identifying if there is any diagnosis of any sort, autism or ADHD. And I thought, great, now what? I'm going to wait for 2 years.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'm not going to just sit here and feel miserable for 2 years. I've done it for way too long. So I'm going to carry on digging, basically. And in my practice, I was already using something called Nutrigenomics. I was using it with my hormonal patients. And basically, it's looking at your genes in relation to nutrition, nothing else, just purely nutrition and how your body absorbs nutrients or
Mm.
doesn't if your genes are switched off. And I had done a general report to basically more like health prevention and hormone balancing, a bit of digestive health as well, but had not kind of zoomed it to the brain side of things with nutrigenomics. So I did that with my daughter, and oh my goodness, basically I found out why she doesn't sleep.
Mm.
She doesn't make melatonin, the sleep hormone. Her
Wow.
gene is actually switched off. It's a big red dot on her report. So she doesn't convert serotonin into melatonin.
Wow.
So yeah, yeah. Are you familiar with that?
I am familiar with many neurodivergent children having a melatonin deficiency. I did not know the depth of that.
Yeah, yeah. So for us as parents, having this report just meant that, okay, it's not our fault. We've tried absolutely everything. And then the other side of this is not her fault either.
Mm.
We got to stop getting angry with this sleep issue because it's nobody's fault. We need to work on it and
Yeah.
find other solutions. So it was like, oh, wow, okay, what else can we do then? So the report shows you how we produce serotonin to produce melatonin. So it's kind of a pathway with little steps. And each step is supported by specific nutrients.
Mm.
So we added these, and also the report shows you potential deficiencies. So we sort of, address those potential deficiencies And that helped her solve the waking up in the night. She used to wake up every night from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. every
Wow.
night, 2 hours, jumping on the bed. And addressing deficiencies helped, stop that, which was amazing. We did other things. We addressed her blood sugar balancing because she wasn't quite eating enough in the evening, things like that. And yeah, so this report was just such a great starting point, really focused on what she needed. And I will add, she's a fatty eater, of course.
Mm.
So that's a challenge too.
Yeah. I did not realize my son is a picky eater for sure. I did not realize that we're not on the worst end of that spectrum until I met a little kid who only eats things that are white. And I thought, Man, what do you feed him? What does he eat? And it was basically rice, boiled chicken, pears.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I
Okay. So
am
yeah.
fortunate that we were not that picky.
Yes, same here. Same here. Yeah, my daughter loves fruit. So I'm like, oh, you don't like vegetables, but at least you like fruit. So
Yes.
that's something.
Yes. Okay, mamas, real talk for a second. Parenting a neurodivergent kid isn't a Pinterest board. It's a wild, wonderful, overwhelming ride. And when your kid is melting down because their cereal is too loud, or you're crying in your car Googling how to raise a kid with ADHD without losing my damn mind, you need a pro in your corner. Enter Dr. Laura, licensed psychologist, board certified telemental health provider, and actual unicorn. She provides virtual therapy in New York, Delaware, Virginia, and Florida. But get this, even if you're outside of those states, she's got some game-changing resources for every one of us. Her children's book, How Boppy the Beagle Learned to See the Sun Behind the Clouds, helps kids understand big feelings, getting help, and how a psychologist can support them, conversation starters included. Her Behavior Change Ahead audio course, 4 hours of science-backed guidance to help you change behaviors, yours, your kids, or both, because spoiler alert, when we shift, they shift. And if college is on the horizon, her college suite of 10 workshops preps your neurodivergent teen and you for the emotional, social, and academic roller coaster. So if you're exhausted but still here fighting for your kid, check out Dr. Laura in the show notes and grab the tools that you wish came with the diagnosis. So I want to know all of the things, but I guess I will start for all of the parents out there who have sleep issues. And what did you do to correct the melatonin deficiency?
So I'll be completely transparent. Today she is taking melatonin to help her fall asleep. Okay, so right now she is taking some. But like I said, when we did the report and we addressed some of the deficiencies, so it was not just focusing on that pathway, it was just focusing on the whole body,
Yeah.
really. Because nutrigenomics looks at something called methylation. It's a little bit complex, but it's a process where basically food is converted into energy, essentially, right? And then you've got these different functions going on in the body. And if you're not getting these key nutrients like B vitamins are really essential for methylation, then everything is going to be slow. Every process is, and the brain is kind of at the end of this long process. So, the body is using up all this energy. And when we are stressed, we use up all that energy to deal with the stress. Everything else shuts down because it's not the priority,
Yeah.
the stress, the kind of survival is the priority, right? So, of course, addressing the anxiety was a really big thing for our daughter. She was always anxious, even as a baby. If someone rang the doorbell, she'd be kicking her feet. You could see she was
Mm.
scared. She was actually really, really scared. So what happened during pregnancy, we don't know, but it was probably something that, traumatized her. And so we basically, looking at all the nutrients that support the brain, reduce the anxiety. And the report is really interesting. The report shows you how the body makes serotonin, so the feel-good hormone that gets converted into melatonin. It shows you how you produce dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
All right, obviously very much linked to ADHD.
Yes.
And it's all about achieving a balance of these neurotransmitters. It's when we have too much of one or not enough that we start feeling low or hyper or, so you want to make sure that your body gets the nutrients to make these neurotransmitters, but you also want to make sure that your body is able to release any excess, because then that's when, like, my daughter feels, when she's angry, you can see she's frustrated. She's like clenching her body, sometimes she screams even, but you can see when something annoys her and it stays in her body for quite a while. So she finds it hard to release that excess, stress. And then finally, we have a hormone called GABA, which is the relaxing hormone. And my daughter doesn't produce enough of that one. So by supporting all of these pathways, we then start to achieve a better balance. And I can really say, honestly, that today she's in school and she's happy enough. She doesn't like school as an ADHD child, right? It doesn't suit her. She doesn't like learning. But if I wasn't giving her all this support, she wouldn't leave the house.
Yeah.
She wouldn't be able to, you know. So for us, it's, I think you mentioned, in one of your episodes, having a normal-ish life or something that resemble, normality. Everyone's normal is different. Let's just say that as well, and recognize that everyone's normal is different. But for us to be able to socialize and go on holiday and take her places, it's really quite magical.
Yeah.
Because years ago we wouldn't have been able to do that. Yeah. So I'm here because I want people to hear that there are options out there. It's not going to suit everybody. People might not choose to do that, but it's there. And to try, to have these tools to help you understand your child a little bit better is life-changing.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, yeah.
I have so many follow-up questions, but my first one is this kind of testing what physicians use to see how our bodies metabolize the ADHD treatments. I know that sometimes a test can be performed to see how our bodies are metabolizing the medication so we can get the right fit.
Mm-hmm. It's a different test.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a different lab. In fact, the test that you're mentioning today, I hadn't heard of that one because we haven't gone down the medication route yet. We haven't needed to. That's another thing. We may need to go down that route. I'm not against it, but for now we don't feel that she needs it. But yeah, so someone mentioned it to me and I kind of looked it up, and this is two different tests. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So the Nutrigenomics is a saliva test. So it's very easy to do. You do it at home. You get a kit and you receive it through the post, and it's a little swab in the mouth, and you send it off. You select the reports that you want to order. There's various options. But with brain, anything to do with neurodivergent, conditions, I recommend a general one for the whole body, so we understand, how things work. And then really zooming into the brain side of things, because that's really fascinating and really helps people. So yeah, not easy to do. Yeah.
And you use a mix of supplements and food nutrition to correct those, is that right?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, I said that she's, her diet is very limited, but because I started when she was very young, and that's another thing I want to encourage people to do, is when you have really young children that starts showing sign of behavior, anxiety, to start getting them used to doing these things, because then it becomes a habit, right?
Yeah.
And my daughter asks for her supplements in the morning. If I don't do it, she'll ask for them. So she, does she feel better after them? I don't know, but she got used to, to taking those. So yes, it's a mix of supplements, and also, we've basically with brain health, you really want to focus on protein. Protein is so, so, so important. In protein, it's something called tryptophan, and tryptophan gets converted into serotonin again, you know, that pathway to create melatonin. So when we started giving her a bit more protein at night and making really a point doing it, making sure she had 3 mouthfuls, you know, it really made a difference. Really, really made a difference.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I would say the issue is school, because she doesn't eat brilliantly at school. So her mood just drops in the afternoon. It's so obvious. So her teachers has allowed us to give her a little snack and put it in her bag so that she can go for that when the mood is changing. But yes, so very simple things. So protein, healthy fat is a good one as well to keep them nice and full. So we try and make smoothies. I make a chocolate smoothie that has all sorts of things in it, but it tastes good. That's very important. I make pancakes because she's got a thing about texture. So she's happy with the texture of pancakes, like the American style, the little one, big ones.
Yeah.
So we make beetroot pancakes, we make spinach pancakes, we make, you know, she's quite happy eating those because the texture and the taste is fine. So she kind of bypasses the color, not that little boy that eats everything white.
Yeah. A couple of things came to mind when you were talking about protein. When my son was much younger, I would haggle or bargain with him to eat just one more bite. And it created a monster because now he haggles for everything that he wants. So there's that. But he did eat more protein when he was younger. And we actually had a conversation this morning. He recently tried bacon on vacation for the first time in 10 years. And although it's not the healthiest protein that I would like, we did try a new one and he did like it. So this morning we were on our way to school and I said, your principal would be so proud of you. And he said, what? And I said, yeah, a few years back, she told me that children with ADHD, our ADHD brains need more protein. And he was like, now I don't want to eat it.
Oh.
He still did eat it because it's delicious, but I should have kept my mom mouth closed.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because sometimes it might work, you know, that they want to impress somebody, you know, but quite often it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Oh, well done to him. Well done to him for trying
Yeah.
something new. You're right about the whole, yes, there are healthy options out there, but if your child is not interested in eating those, then, you know, we can't force them. So it is about, and that's another thing that I love to share in my clinic, is to try and relax around food as much as possible. I know it's super hard. And as a nutritionist, when your child refuses to eat, I mean, it's just like like an insult, right? It's like, what? You don't want to eat my food? What do you mean? So I came through a stage of buying a lot of ready-made food because I had to dissociate myself from it. So when she would chuck the whole thing on the floor, you know, when she was a toddler, they'd be like, oh, well, it's the shop has made it, it's not me, so it's not so bad.
Yeah.
Just to stay sane, right? Just to stay
Yeah.
nice and strong for you, for the family, you know, because it is challenging. It really is challenging to parent a child with special needs. So,
Yes.
yeah, the whole food thing, you know, my daughter doesn't like specific smell. She doesn't like the look of vegetables. I mean, you can see her face. It's just like torture for her, you know? But because we've worked so much on regulating her nervous system, you know, with the report, the supplements, the food and everything, she tolerates things a lot more. So she still won't try, even though the other day she tried something. I think it was a sauce, like a Chinese sauce or something. But she'll sit next to us now. But before she had to go and sit on another table. So you can see how things evolve, and obviously, you know, children grow up and they learn about things. They're more tolerant. And
is your next step on the ADHD parenting journey treatment, but you're feeling a little apprehensive? You, my friend, are not alone. So many of us want options that are science-backed and parent-approved. Meet Dr. Richard Bowles. geneticist, ADHD dad, and creator of NeuroNeeds. When his own son was struggling, he created a powerful, all-natural supplement that helped his son get off stimulant meds completely and thrive all the way to college. It's called NeuroNeeds, and it's packed with exactly what ADHD brains need to function, focus, and regulate without the side effects. If you're curious, hit the link in the show notes to check it out. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter while you're there, because right now, NeuroNeeds is doing us a solid by giving away a free brain bundle, and all you have to do to be considered is to sign up for the newsletter. Because you deserve science you can trust and support you can feel.
But supporting that nervous system, because otherwise the stress takes over and they can't cope with anything, right? Do you find that as well?
I do, and my son, well, I can't speak for him and his traumas, big T or little t, but I don't feel like he has, any major trauma to have caused anxiety, so I do feel like it's more generalized. We are learning how to support that.
Yeah.
It's hard when mom and dad also have generalized anxiety.
Yeah,
But it's nice to know that through food and supplements and regulation, we can make progress on that.
absolutely. In fact, I've got a really good example to share that a family that I met not long ago. And the mom had a history of anxiety and a very severe depression, and she had, taking medication and really has gone through very dark patches in her life. Then she had her daughter, and when I met her daughter was 4, and quite, challenging child again, behavior, and she hasn't got a diagnosis just yet, but there's definitely, things going on. And the mom found it so hard. So she, not only was she dealing with her own issues, and then this, lovely little girl, really gorgeous little girl, but really hard to get from A to B, basically, to get up in the morning and get dressed and have breakfast, and you've just managed to get them to school, and you feel like you've run 3 lives already, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I said that to my husband the other day, and he didn't understand. And I said, you haven't done this. You
Yeah.
cannot understand because
Cannot relate.
you have not done it day in, day out. So he was looking at me strangely, and I thought, you're lucky. But this mum, so we met, and she heard my story. So I was sharing my story about my daughter and how it helped her. And she thought, wow, I've got to look into this because it looks incredible. And she was into natural health and really keen to stay that way as long as possible. And so she ordered a genetic test for herself, and she ordered a genetic test for her daughter. And then, of course, there will be some similarity because they're from the same family, right? But the reports are unique, absolutely unique. And we've done some little tweaks with the daughter because she can only eat certain things, and so it's baby steps. But with a little child, even a drop of, say, magnesium or something can make such a big difference. So,
Yes.
and then the mom took what I recommended, and I saw them just after Easter, just after the Easter break, and they'd been away for a few days. And she said, oh my goodness, we had the best time of our lives.
Oh,
Wowza. Because the mom felt good, daughter felt better. So there was less meltdown, less stress, just more happiness. And that's
yeah.
just worth it, right?
Very worth it. I'm so happy for them.
Me too. We were both pretty much in tears, to be honest, because she was telling
Oh,
me, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is so big, so, so big. So that's what I want to share, this hope for people that life doesn't have, it might feel really dark right now. And I remember those days. I really remember those days. And then when first, as a parent, you have to look after yourself, right? Would you agree with that?
very much so.
Because you've got to be the one that is strong and that keeps going, right? You've got a supportive partner. If you have a partner, then that's great, but sometimes you have to drag them along as well. And that's also very heavy. But so yeah, looking after ourselves is very important. And then looking at these options and talking to people and exploring. There's so much out there. There's another thing that's made a huge difference to us. Is something called batch flow remedies. Do you know about these? Do you have these?
I do not.
Okay. So Dr. Batch, who he was English, created these flower essences. And basically each plant is associated with an emotion. It's fascinating.
Wow.
So you can have, there's like a standard blend that they create. It's called Rescue Remedy for people who say temporarily stressed for one reason or another. So you would take that, helps you to stay calm and feel a little bit better. But you can have a personalized blend made for a person based on their emotions. And for our daughter, it again was another game changer because we could see she was frustrated. She was finding it really hard to express herself, very impatient, all of these things. So she had about 6 or 7 plants in this little bottle. We used to call them raindrops. In fact, we still call them raindrops.
Yeah.
They don't taste of much, and they're very gentle because they're essences. They're not essential oils, which are very concentrated. And yeah, a few drops twice a day, and her anger disappeared. Like she used to hit me quite a lot and very hard. When I used to say something, oh, it's time to go and brush your teeth. It's time to go to bed. Oh my goodness, that was it. Thunderstorm. Um, go and hide in the cupboard, quick. And that has gone because of these herbs that helped her regulate her emotions. So that
Wow.
and supplements, just yeah. We've discovered what our daughter is really like. So a lot of children are so angry, so you don't actually see what they're really like inside. And yeah, to see that is just wonderful. Wonderful.
That's incredible. And they're just basically herb drops.
They really are. They are.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Batch flow remedies. That's what they're called. Yeah.
I will definitely link that in the show notes. That is incredible. We basically waited till our very last minute to start treatment, which was ADHD medication.
Mhm.
We tried everything. I mean, I really did. His dad was not ready to start the medication or treatment path. So we tried supplements, we tried everything. But when you have a picky eater,
Mm.
gummies are not going to work. We are not yet to the point where we can take pills. So it's basically if I put this drop on my kid's tongue, which I did, sometimes it was okay, and other times he was like, mm-mm.
Yeah.
So I found that the things that I thought would really help him, we couldn't get inside
Yeah.
to help. So
I know it's
that you were mentioning, if it doesn't have a strong flavor, might be a great option.
absolutely. And it's like I said, it's one baby step at a time. It's like trying maybe one thing that just gets that level of, I mean, you say he's not very anxious, but for some children, it's just getting one drop in that level of anxiety so that they feel then more able to think and to make decisions and to kind of go,
Yeah.
actually, I will try this. I feel brave enough to try that. And where it's, in sort of fight or flight sort of, stage, it's, I know, you can't go anywhere. It's so hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you've mentioned protein.
Mhm.
I know nutrients from fruits and veggies, if one or the other, whatever we can get in there.
Yep.
What other ways could we support our kids with neurodivergence?
I mentioned healthy fats. So what I try to do, because again, it's not an easy thing to, oily fish. I mean, hello, there's not many children that are going to eat oily fish. My daughter ate a bit of salmon yesterday, and she likes smoked salmon as well. So that's great. That's a big tick.
Yeah.
But sometimes what I do is she likes overnight oats for breakfast. And again, it's loaded of stuff in there. She doesn't really know what's in there, but it's chocolatey and she likes it. And then she puts her own cereals on top. So she'll have some of the sweet cereals, but not the sweetest, but the kind of average, which means that she has a bit of freedom. in making a breakfast, but like the base is and in there quite often I will add like a nut butter, or even when you do buy a nut butter, you've got the oil at the top. Sometimes I just put a few drops of that, so that adds a little bit of fat in it,
Mm.
and the taste is minimal, really. There's no texture because there's the oil, and
Yeah.
discovered that not that long ago, actually. And yeah, she's happy with that. But I think it helps her basically to stay full for longer. It slows down the release of the sugar from the oats, basically. So
Yeah.
that's a really good tip. Yeah, so something like that. Um, what else? Eggs are amazing. If you can get eggs in children, they're like a superfood. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need something called choline in the body, which is a type of B vitamin. And choline comes from eggs and it supports the liver. So the liver clears anything that we don't need anymore. So all these excess neurotransmitters that need to come out of the body, otherwise we get frustrated, that is helpful. So anything that's got egg in it, so that's
Mhm.
why I make pancakes a lot.
Yeah. When you were mentioning smoothies earlier, I am very new to being 40, and apparently my body needs much different nutrition than it needed last year. So I recently learned I knew about chia and flax seeds, but I've recently learned about hemp seeds.
Yeah.
And apparently, you can put all three ground chia, flax, or the hemp seeds, and you can mix it into things. And apparently, children do not know that it is in there, or 40-year-old women know that it is in there. And it's a way to get a lot of missed protein and nutrients.
Absolutely. In fact, in that overnight oat that I make, there's chia in there and there's hemp seeds in there. Yeah. Chia is so small, right? And then once it's absorbed moisture, it's like a gel. And when you mix it with oats, you know, you would know it's there. And then
Yeah.
hemp comes in two ways. You've got the ones with the shell, which is really crunchy and not that pleasant personally. And then you can get the whole one without the shell, and that is so creamy again, and it's white. So you can have that ground, or even as a whole, seed, hemp seed, but whole hemp seed. And again, I mix that in the oat, and she doesn't know it's there. So and in smoothies, you would definitely not know. In fact, hemp seeds gives a nice texture to smoothies. So yeah, it's a good one to add. Yeah.
We are new to smoothies, and the only reason that we branched out to try it is because we played bingo as a family and we won a little NutriBullet, the little
Ah,
individual.
yeah, amazing.
So I was like, man, you won this. You have to, try something out of it. What flavor smoothie would you like? So now I'm sneaking in extra nutrients where I can.
And he's happy having smoothies.
He is. It's hit or miss, certain flavors, but yeah, it's an easy way for me to get all of the nutrients that we're missing and vitamins from veggies because we also are very limited in what veggies we
Yeah.
will partake in.
I'm a huge fan of smoothies, and I've just run a challenge in my Facebook group all about smoothies. So I'll send you
Really?
recipes. Yes,
Oh, wonderful. I would love that.
yes. I've just done 7 days of smoothies with my
Ooh.
yeah, with my ladies.
So, Sandrine, I would be remiss if I did not take this opportunity to ask you, as a newly 40-year-old woman, and all of the changes that is going to happen to me, I know that I need to start taking better nutritionally care of myself. So, I know you said you mostly work with parents and it trickles down. I will take all of the advice that you have.
You're talking to the right person because I work with a lot of ladies who are, looking to keep their hormones happy. Let's say that. We won't mention any other big words that you're not ready
Yeah.
for.
I
Mm.
have gotten familiar with the large words, but it really I started noticing it. I have a friend who is 5 years older than me,
Hmm.
and she said, "Man, I cry all the time now, and I never used to cry."
Hmm.
And I made fun of her. And then within the last 18 months, guess who is crying at commercials, radio ads, YouTube videos?
And I think that's the key thing is to really listen to your body and kind of work out like, oh, hello there, what's this? And not to panic, because quite often people think, I have no idea what this is. Oh my goodness, and then the stress just exacerbates everything. So kind of go, okay, my body needs a little bit of support here, and to give that support as and when things happen, because then they
Yeah.
don't turn into something bigger and much more uncomfortable, let's say. But it really is. I think the biggest tip would be that if you have hormonal issues now, period pains, around your cycles, to try and address that now, because then, things are a lot smoother later. That was one of the big lessons I've learned, like in my nutrition career. When I
Yeah.
when I qualified, I attended a webinar, not a webinar, sorry, a conference on this topic. I'm not going to mention the word. And the lady there said exactly that. If you address your PMS symptoms even in your 20s and 30s and 40s, then you will sail through. And I can say that I am 10 years older than you. And
Give me some hope, Sandrine. Come on with
absolutely.
it.
And I am going to touch wood. Okay.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
You know how every ADHD morning feels like a chaotic mix of missed shoes, half brushed teeth, and a meltdown over the wrong color bowl? Yes, welcome to my life. But Goalie has been a total game changer in our house. It's a screen-free device made just for our kids. And it's helping my son actually stick to routines without me losing my mind. What makes the difference? The visuals and the rewards. My son can see exactly what comes next, which means less arguing and a whole lot more independence. And because Goalie lets him earn rewards for completing steps, he actually wants to do it. He's brushing his teeth and packing his bag like it's a game because for him, it kind of is. If you're tired of being the reminder, the timer, and everything else in between, check out Goalie. The affiliate link is in our show notes. It supports the podcast and your sanity because your kid deserves to feel capable and you, my friend, deserve hot coffee.
But my 30s and 40s were rough with my digestion and the hormones and things. And because I sorted all that, it's so much easier now. And yes, some days I may have a little bit of unexplained anxiety, even though I have a child who's quite demanding, but you kind of wake up in the morning, you're like, what's going on? But I know what to do. And when you know what to do, you nip it in the bud. And that's it. The next day you're normal, you're back to your normal self. So I am expecting things to change. So you're kind of listening, every day. You're like, okay. But
Yeah.
it's just life goes on, it's not a big deal as long as you just listen to your body and give it what it needs. And very often it's less stress and more rest and lots of yummy food.
Yeah. First, I want to say you look absolutely amazing to be 50 years old. I would never have guessed that.
Thank you.
Second, the reason that I am on this new journey I've always tried to take good care of myself, but now that path will look drastically different, I guess, is I went to my doctor and I told her that I have PMDD, very rough week before my cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And, I told her, I think that it's normal. I just need something to treat it.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, actually, it's not normal.
Mm-hmm.
And if you start working with your body, you won't need any treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And that was mind blowing because it seems like it's so common for women to struggle through their cycle, but it's actually not quote unquote normal or typical. It's just common.
Absolutely.
And she actually gave me a book, In the Flow by Alyssa Vitti. She is an American doctor who is all the rave about cycle syncing,
Mhm,
what to eat and how to work out and how to basically thrive during each part of your cycle.
mhm.
And it is really, really transformative for me to see how wrong I've been doing it first, but how easy it would be to transform it.
Amazing. I'm very impressed that your doctor said that. Just
Me too.
because unfortunately, in the UK, it's very rare that you'd hear that information,
Yeah.
But you're right that yeah, cycles that are painful are not normal. It's basically a sign that, your body is telling you, actually, I need a bit of support.
Yeah.
So, oh, amazing. That book sounds incredible.
It is very incredible. And she actually did give me a disclaimer that it was against her kind of Hippocratic oath to say, hey, you need to look outside of the realm of medicine to find. So she did give me that disclaimer. I'm still very thankful that she gave it to me. But for any moms that are listening, one easy thing that I did to fix that week of PMDD is just eating 200 extra calories of healthy food.
Wow.
Basically, I was hangry for a week because my metabolism had
Uh,
revved up and it didn't have the nutrients to fulfill it.
you know,
Very simple fix.
yes. And you know what?
Yeah.
It's one thing that I say a lot to a lot of ladies that I work with. My first question is, are you eating enough? You know, how simple is that? But it is really quite transformational for some people. Just looking at a whole day of food, and
Yeah.
as a mom, you may rush breakfast, you may forget about lunch, and you may, have a decent dinner. But actually, the body is running on empty, you know.
Yeah.
So once you change that, it's feel better straight away. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I have one friend, she always calls me after lunch and she's always very manic. And I'm like, have you ate anything today? She says, yeah, I had a banana. That's not enough. So, yeah,
Exactly, exactly. And I understand why, and I've been there, you're just trying to pack, so much in your day, especially if you're working or you're looking after your family or your children, your parents, we've got so much on our plates. And
yeah,
actually, if you stop for a few minutes and have proper food, it makes such a difference. It really does. Because then you don't feel like you need to snack later on in the day, and get those high energy, snacks and that are not, usually high
yeah.
in sugar, that sort of thing. And hormones and sugar don't really go together.
Oh, unfortunately not.
Sorry about that.
That was one very surprising thing in that book that I am reading in the flow. She says that during the fourth part of your cycle, it's okay to eat dark chocolate.
Mhm.
So I am clinging to that for my whole life. For 1 week, I can.
I would say you can have dark chocolate throughout your cycle. You'll
Yeah. Thank you for that.
I call myself the relaxed nutritionist for a good reason. Because
Yeah.
when you are about to, sometimes you just need a little something that is like a hug, right? Because you've had a hard day or you've had a long day if your children don't go to sleep very easily. And when you come back downstairs and you're like, if you're not even sleeping all night with them, like I know
Yeah.
people do, it's like, oh, we need a little something. And that square of dark chocolate is very precious in my house too.
Yeah. Good. That makes me feel much, much better. So I am sure that every neurodivergent mom, especially those over 40 now that we have brought it up, is dying to know where they can connect with you. And I would love it if your Facebook group is public, if you would love to share that. If not, I'd like to lead people to it either way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's a private group, so that it allows people to be open about, hormone health and everything else. But it's searchable. The address is facebook.com/groups your hormone harmony. That's what it's called. So that's all to do with PMS and perimenopause. And what I've got ladies who've passed that.
Yeah.
But it's the whole thing. It's at the end of the day, it's a journey, and wherever you're on that journey, you can join the group and we'll share. And it benefits everybody wherever you're on that journey. So it's
Yeah.
really to raise awareness around, let's talk about this. It's okay to talk about our hormones and our body and these funny feelings we get and funny symptoms. And oh, aren't we lucky, ladies?
Yeah.
And my business is called Savoir Fayre. So Savoir, SAVOIR, and a Fayre, FAYRE. So .co.uk is my website. At Savoir Fayre on Facebook, at Savoir Fayre underscore nutrition on Instagram. And at the moment, I'm kind of, the thing is when you run your own business, everyone tells you you have to niche down, right? You have to specialize, So at the moment, I've got two areas because
Hey, that's pretty
I love
good.
them both so much that I can't decide. But I think it's coming to I don't know, a emerging step somehow. Because basically, I've been working with women, primarily for the last 10 years with hormonal issues, digestive issues. And now I'm finding that, well, some of these ladies have got children that needs help. So I'm kind of,
Mhm.
you see, I'm kind of bringing everything together somehow. So my bio and different places is a little bit different because I'm still trying to work out who I am, but I'm definitely the relaxed nutritionist for families. So helping the mums, but helping the kids. I also help the dads if they want to, but quite often they're not ready yet.
Maybe this is generalizing to the max, but I often find that they're just pretty go with the flow and they don't need as much help as I do.
Maybe. I think they just live with whatever's going on. I think some men still need support and would benefit from
Yeah.
some support, but for some reason it's harder for them to acknowledge that and actually, go and get that help. It's a big step, but it's health in general, I would say, right? It's
Yeah.
so us ladies have to show them the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Sneak some hemp seeds in their morning smoothie.
Exactly that. Exactly that. And then as we were talking about we're talking about energy and how to eat a bit more. And so I'm just introducing a new program called Ignite, which is basically I've been wanting to do this for a long time, which is, having something that's easy enough for a busy mom to listen to. It's not a long course. It's literally 4 to 5 minute video every day for 21 days. And it just shows you how to eat for energy. So it's a little tip every
Mm.
day, and you kind of build up from 1 week to the next. And by the end of the program, you've got some skills for life, basically, to kind of build a really nice plate. Very simple. It's not fancy. And it's with the ingredients that we use every day, but it's all about proportion, it's all about timing, it's all about having the ingredients in the house and things like that. So if anyone is interested, feel free to reach out.
Absolutely. And I will link all of those in the show notes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Sandrine, I just realized that I did not ask you one question on my list of questions. It was so easy to talk to you, and I selfishly soaked it all up. So I would like to leave these last few minutes for anything that I did not cover that you would like to leave the listeners with.
I think we've covered a lot, haven't we? So, yeah, like I said, I specialize in digestive health, so anything to do with, again, not very nice symptoms like IBS and bloating and SIBO is quite a big thing. So I do help people with that as well. Hormonal issues, I do help people with endometriosis as well, which is a condition that needs to be managed, and it's driven by high estrogen. So it's helping the body deal with that, just a bit like PMS, to be honest. It's quite, similar kind of pathways. And yes, and then there's the nutrigenomics. If you want to find out a bit more about that, I have a recording of a webinar that I did. We basically go through my daughter's reports to show how it works. So again, if anyone is interested in any of this, feel free to email me or reach out on social media. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. This has been wonderful today.
Thank you.
Okay, if you're like me, your brain is full, your heart feels seen, and your pantry, well, she might be getting a makeover later today. Sandrine didn't just drop facts. She gave us permission to stop parenting through guilt and start supporting our kids through real nourishment. Not perfect meals, not kale smoothies shaped like dinosaurs, just sustainable science-backed support that actually fits into our very ADHD, very real lives. If something she said hit you hard today about picky eating, gut health, executive dysfunction, or even just the pressure we put on ourselves as parents, do yourself a favor and give her a follow. Shoot her a thank you DM, or send this episode to another mama you know whose kids only eat green items. Let's normalize asking for this kind of help. You can learn more about Sandrine in the show notes. And hey, if you're tired of Googling your way through parenting, tired of the judgment, the noise, the conflicting advice, you're not alone. Chaos and Caffeine was made for exactly this moment. So go easy on yourself today. Feed the kid the beige food if you need to. Take the supplement if you remember, and come back next week. Same chaos, same caffeine, new conversation. Until then, breathe, caffeinate, and carry on, my ADHD fam.